Welcome into the F-150 Tour, brought to you by the Missouri Farm Bureau. We are in Independence, Missouri today, not Kansas City, with Representative Robbie Sauls, who's running in the 11th Senatorial District. First of all, thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Just out of the gate, big shoes to fill
of course.
In J.J. Rizzo's Senate seat.
Absolutely. You know, I've respected J.J. and have learned a lot from him over these last 6 years, but I also recognize they're very big shoes to fill. And I look forward to trying to do that.
So this Senate district's Independence. It's kind of north of, it's kind of the north, would you say it's the north east quadrant of Jackson County?
Yeah, it goes into part Kansas City. I mean, the big bulk of it is Independence, but part of Kansas City, Independence, cuts up around most of Blue Springs, and then gets a little bit of Grand Valley and Oak Grove.
Got a little Buckner in there, is that right?
Bit, yep.
So the primary, were you a little surprised on election night that your opponent wasn't your former colleague, Aaron McMullen?
Sure. No, you know, I'm confident that Aaron worked hard, so it's not that. I think, you know, as I've been around the district and working, I mean, I think that the reality is you just can't control primaries. You think that something goes a certain way, but Republican primaries and Democrat primaries, you just can't control them.
Bit of an advantage for you, though. I mean, you were able to not have that primary fight. You saved your resources. Had to feel like you had to feel good when the primary election night was over the next day. You had to feel like you were in a good spot.
I mean, every race has its challenges, and I think you just kind of you pivot and you try to. So I mean, there were challenges. If I would have faced him, there would have been challenges there, and facing my opponent now, there are challenges there. So you just pivot.
So what are you hearing on the doors from folks?
Yeah, I think it really just depends on the location. So there's homelessness is a part of it, property taxes is a part of it, abortion is a part of it. I mean, you hear all kinds of things.
So let's just break it down. You said there's three parts of the district. Yeah. The Kansas City proper part. What do you hear when you're knocking those doors?
Homelessness is a big part. Homelessness in Eastern Jack. Western Jack and the western part of Senate District 11, Kansas City, Independence. That's probably that you hear that a lot. Property taxes you kind of get through. You get throughout, and then quite frankly, abortion throughout. You'll get questions about that all around too. So those are the main things I think you typically talk about.
Intensity on the pro-choice side of it.
Yeah, I think I think the overarch, and then obviously there are going to be people who are for and against, but I think a lot of people recognize that a lot of people take the position that perhaps Missouri's gone too far.
It does feel like that your average Missourian, that doesn't talk about abortion at dinner, right? Normal people think, well, maybe this is a little much where the law is now. However, I think the pro-life side's so divided, but the one thing it has going for it is they'll say, well, this amendment goes too far the other way. That would be that's what I've seen him gain traction on. I got to say, folks, get a good look at Robbie right now. Victor Callahan, a former senator in that district, he had this way of predicting who was going to win their race. If he saw them at veto session and they didn't have a tan and they weren't a little skinnier, he said they weren't working, they were going to lose. You got a little tan, but you've lost weight since May.
I've lost about 20 pounds.
I started to say you're doing the doors, and I can see it. You don't. Some people tell me that you have to take their word for it. I believe you've been doing doors.
I have.
So what do you do the last week? You got another what is it, 8 days out? What do you do?
Just work every day. That's what I do. I knock doors. That's the main part. Talking to people, and truthfully, that's my favorite part about campaigning anyway. The rest of the stuff I'm not a huge fan of, but actually going door to door and talking to people, it's the best part.
So over time, I mean, you've got parts of this district that are very Republican. You share, if you go to the Senate, you'll be in a caucus of 5 or 6 that actually have to run a general election. I think it makes you such a better public servant when you have to talk to people that don't necessarily, you're not preaching to the choir all day long. Like Patty Lewis will go to the Missouri Senate and never really have to talk to anybody that doesn't agree with her.
Sure.
You don't have that luxury. Independence has been changing. What is your message to a person that maybe voted for DePasco, Callahan, LaVota, Rizzo, but Trump has made them not as easy to wrangle for you as they might have been Senator DePasco?
Yeah, I think a couple of things to that. First off, going back to 2020, I was still the only Democrat in the state of Missouri to win a district Donald Trump won. So I've been doing this for a little bit.
Yeah.
As far as
a little bit of military.
Yeah, military.
You don't come off as the most left-wing, crazy, protesting type.
Right. Of course, yeah. Military, prosecutor background, that kind of stuff helps. But realistically, I've found just talking to people one-on-one, because I think once they get to know you, I think they're there, you just break through that. And I think that obviously my predecessors have done a great job with that. And I think I still see Independence as an old school blue district, and I think that's really in my wheelhouse. Just so
I think that district, to the extent it's not that, it's a Trump district. It's not a Republican district.
Right.
The people in Independence, they like Donald Trump, maybe a segment of them more than would like, but they would, if Ted Cruz would have won in 2016, they would not have entertained voting for a Republican.
I think that's fair. I think realistically, I mean, you've got and you have split ticket voters, right? You'll have people who will vote for Trump or not, but
it would be a surprising number of people, I think, that go into the ballot, vote for Donald Trump, and vote for Amendment 3.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And I think that Amendment 3 part makes them open to voting, kind of crisscrossing that ballot more than it might have other cycles.
I can tell you that I've talked to those people, so I know that we've knocked thousands and thousands of doors, and I've personally knocked thousands and thousands of doors, and I can tell you I've talked to a lot of those folks who are traditional Republican, or like I said, I think old school Democrat and maybe traditional Republican have a lot more of those things in common than I mean, there's going to be differences. None of us agree on everything, but finding those commonalities, I think, is the key.
Representative, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Good luck. Hopefully,
thank you.
We'll be talking to him on election night in Missouri, all election night. We'll be staying until races like Representative Sauls, the Senate race is called. And thank you to the Missouri Farm Bureau for letting us be out here on the F-150 campaign tour. We'll see you on the trail.
Thank you.
Well, we're coming to your city.